I don't want to go to bed, screams Larry. He's 5 years old and he never wants to sleep. When his mother says, "It's bedtime," Larry says, "I just have to build a garage for my car," or "I just have to draw a picture of a tiny little man." And then he just has to jump off the kitchen table 4 times and pick at the little hole in his sock to see if it can get any bigger and hide between the rocking chair to see if Mom can find him. Finally, Mom gets tired of "I just have to" and undresses Larry and puts him to bed. All the while he screams, "I don't want to go to bed." An old lady lives in the apartment above Larry's. Her name is Aunt Lottie. Every night she hears Larry screaming. Larry likes Aunt Lottie a lot. He often visits her. One evening he's sitting with her in her cozy living room when she says, "Would you like to look through my glasses?" "Oh yes, please," says Larry, because he has never had a pair of glasses on his nose before. Aunt Lottie has the world's strangest glasses. Through them you can see as far away as you like, even as far as the forest. Larry looks. "What do you see?" asks Aunt Lottie. "A bear," says Larry. "A boy bear and his mother." "What is the bear doing?" "He's sitting on his bed." "Is he screaming?" asks Aunt Lottie. "No," says Larry, and his face gets a little red. No, as you can see, little teddy bear is not screaming at all. He's eating his honey cereal and feeling very pleased. Teddy had such a good day in the forest. He and another bear named Bobby went to the creek to throw stones. They wanted to see who could throw the farthest. Both of them could throw quite far. And what fun it was to hear the plop of the stones when they hit the water. Then Teddy tumbled into the creek, and since he was already wet, he thought it would be nice to splash around a bit. He made splashes in every direction and a really long splash at Bobby. "I wish I could fall in too," said Bobby. And guess what? He did. At that moment, Teddy decided that he would come back the next morning, if his clothes had dried. Larry looks in another direction and sees the rabbit's nursery. The rabbit kids are just about to go to bed. They are home alone because their mother has gone next door to have a cup of coffee. It is so much more fun to go to bed when they are all alone. "Get to bed quickly now, and don't lie awake talking too long," said Mrs. Rabbit as she left. But the rabbit kids don't try very hard to hurry. First they have a pillow fight. Mrs. Rabbit has marked their pillows with numbers, otherwise they can't remember who sleeps where. All of them want to lie in the center bed. Right in the middle of the pillow fight, one of them says, "Hey, we haven't washed up yet." They all rush to the bathroom, pushing and shoving to see who can get there first. Finally, one of the rabbit kids creeps into bed. "We don't have to go to sleep for a long time," he says. And then he's asleep. "These are wonderful glasses," says Larry. "Look and see if anyone else is sleeping," says Aunt Lottie. Larry sees 5 little baby birds. They are sleeping so soundly that he can almost hear them snoring. One of them isn't quite asleep, but he is yawning. His name is Benny. Benny is very tired. He has spent the entire day learning to fly. His brothers and sisters already know how, and Benny knows a little. But when he shouted, "I can fly 5 wing flaps," his brother said, "Ha! I saw your foot touching the ground." That's why Benny is thinking of getting up before the others in the morning and really practicing. There are 3 children in the squirrel family: Sandra, Sammy and Cecil. Their father is rather strict. "Put the children to bed, so that I can read my newspaper in peace," he says to Mrs. Squirrel. Then Mrs. Squirrel promises a caramel to the squirrel who gets into bed first. "Of course Sandra will be first," says Cecil. "She always is." Sandra is first. She climbs into the middle bunk to suck on her caramel. "You don't have to smack your lips," says Sammy. "We already know that you have a caramel." Cecil pulls down the window shade and lays down in his bunk. He is very unhappy. He would love to be sucking on a caramel too. "Well, it's not good for you to eat candy after you've brushed your teeth," he says to Sandra. "Phoy," says Sandra. Sammy sneaks over to play with his toy train a little. Dad is reading the paper, so he doesn't notice. Sammy has built the train himself, and it's really nice. He puts it beside his bed before he gets in. Sammy thinks about building 1,000 toy trains and selling them all at once and becoming a colossally rich squirrel. Aunt Lottie's glasses are truly amazing. With them you can see right through the floor. That's where Mrs. Rat lives. Right now she's very, very angry. "It's about time you came home," she says to poor Caspar, who trembles as he climbs down the stairs. "Why weren't you home for dinner?" asks Mrs. Rat. "Where have you been?" "Playing marbles in the yard," says Caspar. "Of course, the same old story," says Mrs. Rat. "Now eat and then get right to bed. The other children are already asleep." But Caspar can see that his sister Ellie is still awake. She sticks her head out and looks sweet and innocent while Mrs. Rat scolds Caspar. "I never play marbles in the evening," says Ellie. "Just wait till I come to bed," thinks Caspar. "Then I'll give your tail a good pull." "Now go home and go to bed," says Aunt Lottie. "You've seen that children everywhere have to sleep at night." Larry takes off the glasses. He gives Aunt Lottie a quick hug, but he doesn't say a word. When he gets back to his own room, he takes off all his clothes so quietly that his mother doesn't even hear him. He puts his clothes on a chair and goes into the bathroom and brushes his teeth and washes up. Afterwards he creeps into bed. He thinks about all the children lying asleep in their beds, about Teddy Bear, and the Rabbit Kids, and Benny the Baby Bird, and Sammy Squirrel, and Caspar Rat. And when his mother comes in to say that now he really must go to bed, she's surprised to see that Larry is already asleep. She can hardly believe her eyes. "Good night, Larry,"